second year student, host Ritu Gamre. She is going to host now. Ritu, be continued.
Thank you, sir. Good morning and welcome to everyone. Sorry, it's good afternoon. And thank you for joining us for today's session of Knowledge Series 5.0. My name is Ritu Manoj Bhamre, student of PGTD English final year of Gondwana University, Gadchiroli. First of all, I would like to welcome our HOD of PGTD English, Dr. Vivek Joshi sir. Nextly, I would like to welcome all the faculty members and professors of PGTD English, Dr. Shilpa Athavale ma'am, Dr. Vaibhav Masram sir, Dr. Pramod Javre sir, and Assistant Professor Atul Gavaskar sir, and last but not the least, all students and participants. Today is our 7th session and our speaker is Dr. Rajpalsingh Chikhalikar. Dr. Rajpalsingh Chikhalikar is working as an associate professor and head of the Department of English at Lokmanya Mahavidyalay, Sonkhed, Nanded, affiliated with Swami Ramanand Tirth, Marathwada University, Nanded. He is highly qualified in various disciplines, including MA English, PhD PG in Human Rights, LLB, MJ, a Diploma, Theatre and Arts, and a certificate in Spanish and French languages. He has been working in a teaching field for the last 12 years. He is working on various academic committees at the same university. He was the NAC coordinator at his college. He was awarded an RGNF fellowship by the UGC and a minor research project from the UGC. He is a PhD research supervisor in English, and as of now, 9 PhDs and 3 MPhils have been awarded under his guidance. He has 2 books to his credit and more than 30 research papers published in the best research journals, including Scopus and the UGC Keolis. He took part in many national and international conferences, symposiums, and seminars. He was invited as chairperson to international conferences and seminars. He visited various countries for the academic purpose, including Dubai, Malaysia, and Egypt. He is an external referee for the MPhil and PhD programs at various universities. He was invited for guest lectures at the various educational institutions. He is a journalist at the Hitwad, a new national English newspaper. And for the further discussion, I would like to invite Dr. Rajpalsingh Chikhalikar. Over to you, sir.
So, are you there, sir? Hello, Rajpal sir.
Hello. Hello.
Rajpal sir, you
Hello.
are audible.
Yeah. I think there is something technical issues about my camera. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Hello. Good afternoon. May I start, sir? May I start, ma'am?
Yeah,
Shilpa,
you
may I start?
you can.
Yes, sir. You may start.
Okay. Thank you very much for inviting me for this online guest lecture. Uh, the Gondwana University Gadchiroli Postgraduate Teaching Department of English has been started this lecture series, online lecture series. And Dr. Shilpa ma'am is invited me for this task to deliver a lecture on the specific topic on subaltern studies. I'm audible, ma'am? I'm audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yeah.
Yes, you're
So
audible.
today I'm going to talk on the subaltern studies on Indian literary perspective. You, all the student and researchers and the faculties knows about this term. Nowadays, the all researchers and the supervisors and the faculty members are quite interesting to focus on the subaltern study, particularly in Indian corpus, Indian literary corpus. And I will talk about what is the subaltern. Subaltern is of an inferior rank, refers to those groups in society who are subject to the hegemony of the ruling class. Subaltern particularly denotes the lower classes, oppressed people at the margins of the society, and the social group who are struggling against the hegemonic globalization. So, what is the exact meaning has mentioned in the Oxford Dictionary? It means any officer in British Army who is lower rank than a captain. So the vice of subaltern by product of social, economic, religious condition of historical Indian society attempts to expose the experiences of discrimination, poverty, and human rights violation of lower classes in society. The subaltern writer's prime concern is to raise voice against the injustice and inequality in social and economical domain, particularly. So, this term subaltern was first used by Italian Marxist Antonio Gramsci. In Latin, sub means under and altern means change or others, means different. So it literally refers to any person or group of people of low status. Gramsci says that in the social life order there are two power categories, the ruler and the ruled in our human society. The subaltern historians originally started as Indian origin history told from below approach of the West. And Gramsci highlighted the terms about the social class, gender, marginalized race and culture. While Gayatri Spivak used to silence the voice of the colonized and oppressed working class, gender and women. Gayatri Spivak, an Indian literary critic, proposes that the subaltern is a group of people who have been excluded from the center of society and their voices are unheard and lost under the bondage of colonialism. Spivak says her article, Can the Subaltern Speak? The subaltern has no more deeply in shadow, a document of life experience, marginalized section. Spivak used the distinction in Marx's statement about the peasantry. They cannot represent themselves, they must be represented to examine the dynamic of subaltern voice and representation. Homike Bhabha, a post-colonial critic, emphasized importance of social power relation in defining subaltern social group and oppressed racial minorities whose social presence was crucial to the self-definition of the majority groups. As subaltern social group, nonetheless also are in the position to subvert the authority of the social group who hold the hegemonic power. Subaltern writers' prime concern is to raise voice against the injustice, inequality in social and economic domain, the phenomenal growth in Dalit tribes and women literature came into front when subaltern began to give voice to their experience. In our country, Ranjit Guha, you know all about that. He's one of the scholar, has given a new significance to the word subaltern in the Indian culture context, as it signifies the oppressed section of the society. Guha also pointed out that the word says nothing about class, caste, age, and gender. The concept of primary in grassroots studies has its roots in Marxism and post-structuralism. One of the newest branches of subaltern theory is substratum research. But my personal view that, according to me, I'm not quite agree with Ranjit Guha. Basically, the subaltern term has emerged and introduced in Western culture. It has been used for the rich and the poor people through the Marxist perspective. I think India is a multilingual, multicultural, multilinguistic, multicaste, multiclasses country. And according to the sociologist, the renowned sociologist in India, like Ghure and Srinivas, says that the social system of India is based on caste system in India. So how can we use this term in India, in Indian perspective, in Indian little perspective? I think some researchers, the research supervisor, the faculty members are introducing these terms, who is trying to applicable this term to the marginalized people. Means marginalized people, those who are underdogs, those who are proletariat class, those who are lower caste, untouchable people. But the subaltern has no resistance. There is no rebellious power. The subaltern study is quite different to Dalit study. The Dalit study has a resistance. The Dalit study has a history. The Dalit studies issues are very different to subaltern people. Whenever we talk about the subaltern, so many critics and literary scholars compare with the marginalized literature. Okay, there is no problem. As far as the Indian literary context we talk about subaltern, we should applicable or appeal to the rich and the poor people. Suppose if that higher ranking class belongs to the higher caste, higher class, and those who are working under them, and they are also a representative of the same class. But the differentiate between the two features, the two elements, both are the same caste, both of them same class, then it will be applicable for the subaltern. Some critic will agree or not with my words, with my statement. I can't say anything about that. But as far as my study is concerned, I have gone through that literary features, literary elements in detail. I found that the subaltern study cannot compare with Dalit study. Somebody it used for option instead of Dalit study. So those who are the white collar people, the white collar scholars in our society, they do not want to use the Dalit study. They have to use the subaltern. Understand? On egalitarian perspective. Okay, it doesn't matter. So we want to talk on the suboptimal issues such as oppression, caste, religion, gender discrimination, marginalization, exploitation, migration, class difference, racial statements. And a new mode writing was started by subaltern study, which gave a new dimension to see and understand the literature. The subaltern are completely rejected by the elite historians and scholars. The platform provided them an opportunity to speak and share their pain, anger, suffering, and experiences through the literature. Basically, this term emerged in the Western continent, in Western culture. We introduced, it is a linkage to the Indian literary perspective. Suppose if any want to find out the authentic data, the major findings through the research. So you cannot expose the basic realistic condition of the Indian society, the basic history, the dark history of India. It will be the easiest task. It will be the, I can say that it will not be in detail picture, the realistic picture. If you go through that Dalit literature, it will get the basic problems, the genuine difficulties. In this literature, Dalitism was given prominence, efforts were made to bring their problems, their experiences, and compulsion to fore. This marginalized group based on, according to the Ranjit Guar and other people are saying that, it is based on class, caste, race, sexual orientation, gender, ethnicity, and religion. Indian writers of the 1930s impressed by Marxist thought and ideology reflected both indirectly and directly in the stories of the period. The emergence of subaltern voices in Indian English literature can be traced back to the mid-20th century, when India gained its independence from British colonial rule. As the country underwent a period of social, political, economical transformation, and the Indian writers began to explore new themes and perspectives in their literature. One of the key factors contributing to the emergence of subaltern voices in Indian English literature was the influence subaltern groups, a group of scholars based in Indian who sought to explore the perspective of the subaltern classes in Indian society. The group, which was founded in the 1980s, it was challenged the dominant narratives of Indian history and sought to give voice and marginalized or oppressed communities. In Indian English literature, the shift towards a subaltern perspective is evident in the works of writers such as Mulkraj Anand, Rajarao, and Babani Bhattacharya, who wrote about experience of rural and working class in India's. These writers were completely influenced by Gandhian philosophy. These writers sought to give voice to those who had been previously marginalized in Indian literature and to explore the complex social cultural dynamics of Indian society. In more recent years, writers such as Arundhati Roy, Rohinton Mistry, Arvind Adiga have continued to explore subaltern themes in their literary works. These writers have talked to issues such as poverty, class discrimination, and political oppression, and have given voice to experiences of those who are often ignored and silenced in Indian society. So, the Marxist, some of the key theoretical perspectives that have been influential in subaltern study include Marxism. Marxist theory has been influential in subaltern studies since its inception. Second one, post-colonialism theory has been influenced in subaltern studies since 1980s. Feminism, feminist theory has been influential in subaltern studies since 1990s. Feminist scholars have sought to explore the ways in which gender intersects with other forms of oppression such as caste, class, and race, have argued that a feminist perspective is essential understanding the experience of subaltern women. Another one, the cultural studies, which have been influential in subaltern studies since the 1990s. The cultural theorists have sought to explore the ways in which cultural practices and representation impacts subaltern communities and have argued the cultural forms such as literature, film, and music can be used give voice to subaltern perspective. It is a historical context. The subaltern perspective allows for a deeper understanding of the historical context of India, particularly during the period of British colonialism. By examining the experiences of those who were marginalized and oppressed during the time, we can gain more complete understanding the impact of colonialism in Indian society. The social justice, which subaltern perspective is closely linked to the social justice. By studying subaltern themes in Indian English literature, we can better understand the social injustice that have occurred in India and work towards redressing this injustice. On Indian literary perspective, we see where we find out the subalternism, the subaltern term, where we used, where we applicable, where which addressed in Indian literary context. Subaltern literature and its rise in the second half of the 20th century enables touring away from white Western hegemony and literature towards assumption new literature with the subaltern voices that had recently emerged. So friends, the factors elaborate above reveal studying of subaltern themes in Indian English literature, crucial for more complete understanding of Indian society, its history, and its ongoing struggle for social justice. Some novels includes The Children of God by Shanta Rameswara Rao, Untouchable by Mulk Rajanand, Triumph of an Untouchable Family and Outcast Life in India by Narendra Jadhav, God of Small Things by Arundhati Roy, Amita Ghosh, The Hungry Tide. These are the novels in Indian English literature perspective. Another one is Rohinton Mysteries, The Fine Balance. So the Subaltern voices in 21st century Indian fiction, a study the inheritance of loss by Kiran Desai, and the White Tiger. So another one that in, in the 20th century, Gopinath Mohanty's, we can see also, but on the subaltern perspective, like Paraja. This novel is written by Gopinath Mohanty. Mat Shweta Devi's Dust on the Road, and Mamang Dai's The Black Hill, and Hari Ram Meena's When Arrows Were Heated Up. And Mahashweta Devi's Arun Joshi, Narayan, G. and Devi, Mamang Dai, Indira Goswami, Hari Ram Meena, Vandana Tate, Mowa Mazi are embedded with the tribal concern, especially in subaltern perspective. So, I want to say that the untouchable, the Mulk Raj Anand exposed the hypocrisy and the arrogance of upper caste Hindus. In Kohli's, the main character is neglected to the periphery, is isolated along with the counterpart. Rohinton Mystery's novels with themes of exploitation and the plight of untouchable, an example being the novel A Fine Balance, which is written in 1995. It depicts the class and caste inequality in Indian society and provides a visual representation discrimination by face. So another one, the Arundhati Roy's The God of Small Things, sparks collective resistance against extremist Hindus and depicts the discrimination suffering minority and marginalized groups. In the novel, Marxist theory of history in which colonialism. So, one of India's foremost writers, like Amitav Ghosh, in his novels, which include such important, well-known works as The Glass Palace, The Hungry Tide, in which, in these novels, it has been represented the marginalized people. Another novel is like Sea of Puppies, River of Smoke. The 1979, the novel Hungry Tides summarized the events, described the subaltern consciousness. And Kamla Markanda's, a diasporic novel, Nectar in Sea, which is written in 1954. Markanda describes how the rural societies does not allow itself to be distracted by the larger happenings around it. So, the study observed the highlighted social, cultural, religious, political, psychological experiences, subaltern Indian society with special reference, some Indian novelists. Their novels has been translated into English. We can mention that name of Gurdas Singh. Many critics says that he is the Premchand of Punjab. He has written many novels, and his novels translated into English. He's a Punjabi writer. He's a foremost Punjabi writer. It has been exposed the cultural issues, class experiences, historical records, symbolical codes, religious conflict, social political background of Punjabi, oppressed people. I can mention his novels like The Last Flicker, The Night of Half Moon, Parsa, The Survivors. These novels is based on Zamindari system, the labor system, the downtrodden people, the village background of the Punjab state. So I want to say that the study of subaltern in terms of Indian English and Indian fiction highlights the ongoing struggle for representation agency of power faced by marginalized community, not only in colonial but also post-colonial context. So the interesting fact is that the subaltern class in Indo-English novels is created not by Dalit class writers, but by elite class writers. E.M. Foster wrote the preface, The Untouchable, and no untouchable could have written the book because he would have been involved in indignation and self-pity. The literature portrayed Dalits and their challenges and reality of existence. Thus, literature became the voice of the silent people who were suppressed in various walks of life. Several Dalit writers have come forward claiming to be equal to Dalits. So, through analysis of literary text taken up, the study has revealed the critical importance acknowledging, engaging these voices effort challenging cultural hegemony and promote the social justice. In contemporary Indian literature, subaltern knitting became a superseding idea, and literary writers turned their writings towards suppressed voices of the Indian society. The Indian writers rewrote the fictional and non-fictional narratives as well as articulate the passive voice of subalterns. Also overviewing the Dalit literature from a subaltern perspective. In post-colonial India, the subaltern study reflected in the various forms of writings of history and literature. So the subalternity becomes a dominant framework in literature when the marginalized section of the society has no voice of its own. So, friends, I tried to give justice to the subaltern study. Just I put my view in front of you through the verbal communication. Dr. Shilpa Madam told me, you have been allocated the time for 30 minutes. So I endured that to complete my talk within 30 minutes. I hope that you all the research scholars and the students of the PG try to understand what I have to say about the subaltern study. So thank you very much, Shilpa ma'am. You have given me this big opportunity and put my some words before you. And I hope that you all understood about my lecture. Suppose if you have any doubt or any questions about the subaltern, we can make a talk, we can make a discuss on this issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chitti. So, very elaborative session of yours. And once again, I express my sincere thanks to you for accepting our invitation. And today you have delivered your lecture very well mannered. I hope our students have got some insights on subaltern studies. Thank you very much. Now, over to you, Ritu. And
Yes.
I request to all the students, research scholars, and all the faculty to please switch on your cameras so that we can have a group photo. All the
Before, ma'am, before taking the
yeah.
screenshot, if you have any queries, students, means student can ask the question. I request to every participant, if you want to ask question, then you can feel free to ask Dr. Chikhalikar sir. Or
Sir,
you
I
may
have
put
an
your question in chat box. No, okay, ask.
sir, how relevant is subaltern studies to contemporary Indian literature and social issues such as caste discrimination, gender inequality, and political activism? Sir,
Pardon, what do you say?
I'm repeating, how relevant is subaltern studies to contemporary Indian literature and social issues such as caste discrimination, gender inequality, and political activism?
I told you I told you a few minutes before, as far as my knowledge is concerned, that I frankly speaking that subaltern study cannot compare with the caste system. You can't compare with the gender discrimination, the Marxist point of view, the labor class, but not on caste system. According to the Ranjit Goa says that you can applicable apply this term to the Indian perspective, particularly caste system. But I'm not quite agree with him. But you can apply this term, you can use this term for literary point of view, in research point of view, the class, the gender discrimination. Understand? So, which elements have been emerged in literature, including poetry, novels, or non-fictions? You may apply for that. Do you understand?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Again, if anyone have any queries, you can unmute your mic and ask the questions, or you can just drop your question to the chat box. If anyone is there, or shall we move forward?
Uh, Ritu, ask
Yes.
the participants switch on their camera.
Okay. I'm requesting all of you to just switch on your camera for group picture. We are taking screenshot that for further memories. Please switch on their cameras.